Lines. You know those. You see it everywhere. You're also watching a video made up of a bunch of lines on a phone or a computer shaped in a rectangle, which is also made up from a bunch of lines. Wait, my phone's circle. A circle's made up of a bunch of lines, or one line, I don't know. Anyways, there are so many different things to call a line, and I don't like most of them. Let me give you some examples. Graph lines, geometry lines, lines on paper, poetry lines, telephone lines, limes, reading palm lines, zip lines, and the worst of them all, waiting in lines. I absolutely despise waiting in lines. Even on my birthday or something and we go out to eat dinner, if I see a fancy schmancy restaurant on the left with a line outside and a cheap fast food place on the right, you can find me at the place on the right because it's the right way to avoid lines. Get it? Right way? That was a bad joke. Next, on Black Friday, everything's on like 200% sale, and obviously there has to be a line that's like 30 miles long just for people to get into the store. Well, I wouldn't even consider for a second about getting in that line. Not even if it was 30 yards, 30 feet. No, not even a 30-minute wait. I'd always say, we can try it next year, and head back home. Even if I drove there for hours just for Black Friday sale. I'd regret it for the next year, but when that time comes back around, guess what? I'll try next year. Amusement parks. The place where you'd least expect standing in lines. No, everything there involves standing in lines. How boring. And the grand journey starts by waiting to get a ticket. And I skip the waiting by getting those tickets online. Or getting an annual pass, but whatever. I go in proudly because of my achievement, but when I go in, all I see is lines. Even before I see any of the restaurants or the rides, all there is lines. So, what I end up doing is this. Oh, a roller coaster. Waiting time, 200 minutes. I never even liked roller coasters. Oh, it's lunchtime. I'll skip. Restrooms? I'll hold it. Gift shops? I'll get them next time. Standing in a line, any line, is a torture for me. Even when I was a kid, I hated standing in lines, just like everyone else did. Especially in my elementary school, the place where everyone had to stand in a line wherever you go. There were lines everywhere, even during field days. I mean, what shape do you play tug of war? Hint, in the line. Also, lines made everything slow. A train goes in a line, attached to each other, and they're so slow, it takes them forever to cross the street. I can remember several times that I've been late because a train was crossing the street at like 10 miles per hour, and I was stuck there with nowhere to escape. Well, you could go around it. You can't. You see, every single road that connects to the main road of the town was blocked by the railroad. And more than often, the train was incredibly long and slow. Also, the only other way was to go up through the interstate, so that wasn't really a choice. This is just a thought, but imagine a bunch of cars chained together on a highway. Whenever a car has to exit or enter, every single car would have to stop to unlink and relink all those other cars. That'll make a good 20-minute drive to a dreadful 70-hour non-drive because you have to stop every second. Wait, what was I saying? Oh, school. By the time I was in 5th grade, I was excited to go to middle school because there'd be no lines. No lines! Soon, I found out that no lines meant hallways full of chaos, which I hated also, but it was still worth it. I loved the freedom of going wherever I can at the speed I want. Lastly, I want to talk about when I'm inside those lines. This happens rarely because I try avoiding lines at all possible ways. Googling, calling, emailing, live chatting, and even physically mailing stuff. But whenever I do, it's usually because I was forced by someone else. Also, I don't like holding a place in lines, especially in amusement parks. It's like cheating in a book of line standingology. You put someone else in a line while you go to the restroom or get on another ride, then you squeeze through 80 people saying, "Sorry, my friends are on the front of the line," and expect me to let you go? And I usually do because I don't want the extra trouble of talking with people. Now, when I'm on the other side of the situation, I refuse to go at all and my feet get stuck to the ground. I make excuses saying I can't see them or there are too many people, and luckily, I avoid cutting in lines most of the times. But whenever I'm forced to, I say, sorry, my friends are on the front of the line as I'm squeezing through them. I guess that makes me the same with others. Well, one thing to learn from all my ranting about lines is that all lines are bad unless you're drawing, or making technology stuff, or food, because that's important.